Alrighty. Welcome to another episode of Sustainable Kitchen. As you might have seen in the title, we're doing an episode about some medicinal foods and things you can cook with for a little extra boost, I guess.
Ow! Sorry, didn't mean to be so violent.
Oh, no. I more imagine like a superhero pose where you're like, bum, ba-da-da. Yeah. This was like probably one of my favorite episodes like to do research for. I don't know why, but the world of like nutrition and like foods with health benefits and like the studies behind them, it's like you'll never get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, it's definitely really interesting. I feel like I feel always astounded at like how much plants provide. Like I feel like
Heck yeah. I mean, like, everything comes from plants, pretty much.
yeah.
Well, everything comes from the sun, and then it goes through the plant, but pretty much.
Pretty much.
Alrighty. Just want to make sure everyone in chat, the sound is good. Just give me a thumbs up or just tell me it sounds good or whatever. But yeah.
I feel like,
sorry.
I was just gonna apologize if I look like I'm just like my lips are really chapped today, and I haven't bothered to get my chapstick, and I'm not gonna go downstairs to get my chapstick. So if my chapped lips disturbed anybody,
chapstick is a conspiracy. Your lips get a little. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll send some coconut oil vibes your way.
Thank you.
Okay, we sound good apparently, according to Sweeney. Awesome. No, but seriously, your lips, get a little dry, so you slap chapstick on there, which doesn't actually moisturize them. It just, makes the problem go away for a little while, and then, they dry out, and it makes your lips even worse. And it's a vicious cycle. And now you're addicted to chapstick because it's the only thing that helps.
Maybe I should send some, like, hydration vibes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do think that obviously it starts with like being properly hydrated and things like that, but I mean in the wintertime, like you let's get chapped. It's good to have something protecting you from winter. So I think it's much like so many medicinal benefits, having more than one element of things to help with creates a good thing. That doesn't make any sense, but
Ain't that the truth?
All right, cool. So, are we ready to kick this thing off finally?
I'm ready.
Alrighty, then I'll pop it over to the screen share view.
Alrighty, so for our opening game, we're going to be playing Magic or Myth. Dun, 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 dun. And so how it's gonna go is I'll show you a popular food item. And these items, I've tried to pick ones that are really common and have like a certain benefit attributed to them, and you'll have to guess whether that benefit is true or false. And our standard to be true, since I feel like depending on your website, you can find varied answers. But to be true, we're looking for a well-run study that attributes benefits to this. Not a study run looking at it that was like, well, it's like pretty inconclusive. That doesn't get to count as qualifying, if that makes sense. I feel like there's a lot of studies like that, not because they're bad studies, but just because Like, not everything we look into is gonna be super epic. Alright, you ready for the first one?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so the first one is local honey helps relieve your allergies. Um, this is a really common one. I actually bought honey from this self-service stand a couple days ago, and they have like a list on the door of like all the benefits to honey. I think this is like the first one.
I
I
think that's true.
Oh, see, I was leaning the other way.
Oh,
I oh, honey is bee vomit, and so it's bee vomit. And it's basically also mostly sugar. So if there were like good things in there that were, like proactively helping you avoid allergies, I imagine that stuff would break down over time and make honey unusable. But I mean, honey stays good for literally forever.
but
So
I mean, it's made from the pollen. So I guess my assumption is that because it's coming from the local trees, that it's kind of like a vaccine, right? Of like it's giving you a little bit of the thing that might be harming you and like helping your body adjust to it. I thought that it was more so something like that.
see, I don't know. I feel like it. I mean, I guess the analogous thing I would say here is like if I went out and ate a bunch of flowers, let them sit in my stomach for a little while, and then vomited out. Do you think you eating that would help you avoid allergies?
But honey is magic, though. Like honey in itself is antifungal. It's like has these are wonder. I don't know.
No, that's fair. I'm gonna go with it's a myth, but you're more than welcome to go with it's true. I mean, obviously we can have disagreeing opinions here.
I'm going with true.
Alright, so Mary, your line of thought is really popular. That it's kind of like microdosing people so they build up resistance, but unfortunately, every study that's tested this has shown that there's no substantial decrease in allergies. But there are people who, like, anecdotally experience this, and so if that works for you, like, all power to you.
Yeah, I imagine that there's a lot of placebo effect here. People feel like it helps them with their allergies, and
yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, another super popular one. Bananas help relieve muscle cramps.
I mean, I've heard this one before. I mean, I believed it in high school. I mean, now I get to be skeptical about it. I, I'm gonna go with this one's true, but I don't think it's like an instantaneous thing that people think it is. It's probably like a longer term, like eat a banana before you work out kind of thing.
So, I'm pretty sure that it's like the potassium that's supposed to help with muscle cramps, right? My understanding is that bananas have like a decent sort of potassium, but what I've heard is that it's actually like other vegetables like potatoes actually have higher ones. So there's
Yep.
like more effective alternatives than bananas, but I still think that it's true. It's probably just like not like it's not the best thing for you.
This one's false actually.
Oh.
Yeah, so scientists have actually learned a lot about muscle cramps recently and kind of what caused them. The old school of thought was that it was electrolytes, like a lack thereof, and so that's where the potassium comes in. And so people are like, okay, if I have this potassium, then it'll kind of relieve it. But multiple studies have shown that it doesn't help at all, even if you do eat it like beforehand or eat them like she said an increased rate. Surprisingly, there is like a quick fix to like muscle cramps, but it's not as delicious as a banana. Vinegar drinks like pickle juice
Oh
has
yes.
actually been shown to decrease cramps. So,
Okay.
That's the best stuff in the world. Pickle juice is legitimately like just the nectar of the gods.
no, I'd rather eat a banana.
Oh,
I like drinking apple cider vinegar and Mostly because it's supposed to be good for you or whatever, but also because I do like the flavor of it. It's like real strong.
I had apple cider vinegar ruined for me when I drank some really putrid stuff that was sitting in the ECM cabinet for years and years. I just tried
Oh,
it. It burned all the way down and all the way through. It was not a
Dang,
pleasant experience.
sounds
oh.
terrible.
Uh, I was, if you didn't say they're sitting in the cabinet for years and years, I was like, oh no, I hope he didn't drink the lactobacillus stuff, thinking it was apple cider vinegar. But that
I
hasn't
mean,
been years.
yeah.
Would that potentially hurt? I mean, Christian claims that that stuff can be used as drain cleaner. So I imagine if you drink it, it's gonna have negative repercussions on your gut biome.
I mean, if you drink as much as you put down a drain, I don't know. I haven't done any research with it. I've been told it's like a probiotic booster, which I could kind of see,
Yeah, that's my understanding
but
also.
I have literally just word of mouth. Uh, I don't even know if it's reputable source.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that.
All right,
Okay.
here's the next
Interesting.
one.
Yes.
Carrots are good for your eyes.
I know the answer to this one, so I'll let Mary go first.
I love this gift. I'm gonna say yeah, right? Because they have high levels of beta carotene, which is like for the eyes.
Well, I guess yeah. Now that you say that, I guess it's. I wouldn't say carrots are bad for your eyes, so technically they are good for your eyes. But if this is the myth I think you're talking about, then the answer is absolutely no, and that's totally a myth. So
Yeah, okay, so carrots are good for your eyes, but what David's talking about is this originally entered pop culture in about World War II when they invented the radar, and before the radar, they just relied on night, like people's eyes, right? And so all of a sudden, they're hitting so many more ships, and people are like, wow, your pilots have like suspiciously good eyes, and they can't be like, oh yeah, we have this secret technology called a radar. They're like, no, we eat a lot of carrots, and so the myth began that carrots are super good for your eyes. But they do have like lots of vitamin A that, like, if you're deficient in, can give you blindness.
Huh. That's so interesting. I had never heard that before.
I know, I had so much fun with this episode, like the research. Oh, oh man. Okay. Green tea helps your body lose weight.
um, well, I'm gonna have to go with true on this one, only because my stuff that I was writing for my PowerPoint says it's true. So if it's wrong, then I need to go edit that real quick.
I'm gonna say false because I feel like I've been saying true to all of them, and I'm questioning my sources on things now.
That's fair. This one is true, but barely.
Yeah.
Not to the degree that it should be like your sole plan. Um, some studies have shown that it increased calorie burning by like 4%. So like a baby boost. And the caffeine helps people like become more active and things like that. But it's not magic. But it apparently helps, which is cool. Alright, and this is the last one. This one's for you, Mary. Kombucha is good for your gut health.
All right. If this one's a myth, who's gonna break it to Christian?
um, you're making me question things, but I feel like it is true because there's a lot of probiotics in it.
Yeah, I'd have to go with true on this one as well for exactly the same reasons.
Yeah, you both are right. Pretty much anything fermented is pretty good for your gut. It's got happy bacteria in it. So yeah, no one has to break anything to Christian. All right. So that's the game this week.
Nice. Cool. Thank you. All right. Cool. So, who would like to go first today? I mean, I can. I have no qualms with that.
Go for it. What are you talking about?
The presentation and all that, talking about the different stuff. Okay, I'm gonna need you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I already signed off this sub call, so it should be ready for you.
Okay, cool. I'll have to rejoin the conversation. Turn my audio off, or else this is gonna get real bad real fast. Okay, I didn't lose either of you, so that's a good thing. It looks like this computer can only support about 4 or 5 actual. What am I trying to say here? I don't know. 4 or 5 views for Skype before it starts to have problems. Alright. Screen share view. Alrighty. Present. There we go.
I really like the background of your PowerPoint. It's so pleasant.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really fancy. That's what happens when you Google something and take the top 5 results.
Wait, what did you Google?
I think I literally just Googled presentation backgrounds.
Okay.
Be specific. It's amazing what you'll get out of Google.
So
Very whimsical.
it's pleasant.
Okay, so for mine, I guess I'll point over here. So Mary, I believe you're doing herbs and spices. Okay, and then Amelia, you're doing antioxidants and kind of the generalized everything that comes with that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I got left with kind of a wide variety of different things. So I didn't want to like just do vegetables. So I have a lot of vegetables, and then I have some oils, some nuts. I want to say I have some other stuff as well. And I wanted to do everything that you can actually get in a grocery store near you. So all of this should be able to be found in a local grocery store. So nothing here is out of this world, ridiculous. You know, I'm not telling you to get pure acai berries from, you know, wherever the heck they're grown. So this is all just good, hearty stuff you can get at a grocery store. So we're going to start off with spinach, something everybody knows about, and actually what a lot of people actually probably wrongly attribute to a massive source of iron. Now, that's one of the myths I actually thought that you might actually pull out, was that spinach is really high in iron. And while it is a good source of iron, I mean, you can get roughly 5% of your daily requirement per cup of spinach. So like a regular salad will give you about 15 to 20% of your daily allowance. A long time ago, they misplaced the decimal point, so it was legitimately 10 times as much being reported. So I mean, 1 cup of spinach would supposedly give you 50% of your daily requirements, which was crazy. Yeah, so that's where the whole myth of spinach being extremely high in iron came from.
Do you think that was intentional, like some money under the table? Because I feel like that happens a lot. Like, people want research to show that their food is much more substantial than it might be.
I mean, it's possible that it was somebody was throwing some cash their way to misplace a decimal point, but from what I understand, it was misplaced, and then articles like newspapers and other such things started picking it up and reporting it immediately because it was this big news. It was a superfood and all that. and like the
Yeah.
lab that tested it immediately did a retraction or something like that and said, "Hey, look, no, we were wrong." It wasn't even like they let it persist for a while. It was an immediate correction.
Okay. So it's probably like an honest mistake.
Oh yeah, but I mean, this has been. I mean, actually, the whole I think the whole big source of iron, like iron's supposed to be good for you. It's supposed to help make you strong. It's one of the reasons why Popeye loves spinach. Why him chugging a giant container of spinach gives him super strength.
Oh, I never. This is. Okay, this is like one of my favorite episodes already. Oh man. So many fun, like. I'm gonna whip this out at a party sometime.
But yeah. Also, so yeah, we'll move on from spinach. I could talk about all the bullshit with that for a while. But it's also it's reasonably high in protein. Not a huge amount, but if you eat spinach every day and you eat a good amount of it, I mean, per cup it's roughly 1 to 2% of your daily requirement. So a spinach salad a day is about 10% of the average person's. I would say the average person's. What am I trying to say? Daily requirement between men and women. Obviously, men are going to need a lot more, but women can eat a lot less and still get their protein.
How does it compare to other dark green leafy vegetables?
Honestly, in terms of protein, not super well. Other things are better. I think my next slide is actually. I'll move on to that. I believe it's kale. Yeah, and kale is actually, I believe it has more protein in it than spinach. I don't have that on here. Kale I just included because everyone can get it, and it's really good for your heart. But most people don't want to eat it because it's got that really shitty connotation of being a superfood and designer greens and all that crap, and nobody wants to deal with that.
Also, bitter is all get out.
I mean, I can deal with the bitter. I'm a bitter person. I can eat bitter food. Yeah. But I also, kale eats large amounts of vitamin A, phosphorus, and some vitamin B. So if you're trying to like round out the majority of your necessary vitamins and minerals, your dark leafy green vegetables are going to provide a huge amount of it. So kale is a really good one, actually. So if you get beyond the whole, superfood and annoying trend, then it's actually good for you.
I feel like the trend is kind of dying a little bit. Like for kale, like avocados is still pretty in, but I feel like kale's kind of moving back.
I get you. Mary, I haven't heard from you in a while. Are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, cool. I was just making sure. All right, cool. And next we have sun-dried tomatoes. Another actual great source of protein. So they're actually really, 5 to 8% of your daily requirement in a cup. And then they're also a huge source of potassium, much higher than a banana, about 75% of your recommended amount in a single cup. So if you have a tomato plant, like one of those cherry tomato plants, go out, pick about 2 cups worth, cut them in half, and leave them in the sun to dry for what, 2 hours, Mary? Sounds about right. 2.5, 3 hours maybe.
I think it's like 2 weeks.
To sun dry it completely?
Yeah.
Well, then I must be thinking of the oven.
That's what I've read.
I know you can sun dry tomatoes in the oven and still get the same benefits. So do that instead. Don't just leave them outside. But you can literally grow these in your house. It's very easy. In fact, we might be having some tomatoes soon enough here.
How does this compare to like just fresh tomatoes?
I have no idea. I imagine you don't lose any, or you don't gain any protein or potassium. But sun-dried tomatoes, I know for a fact, you can more easily get a kid to eat them because as they dry out, they tend to gain a little bit of a sweetness to them. The sugars in the tomato tend to concentrate. There's less water to kind of dilute the sugariness. So it's much better snacking food. instead of just throw it on a salad. But I imagine it's not any less good for you than a standard potato or tomato, or any better.
I think the only difference is like the water content. So, like, you can eat more without feeling full, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose you definitely could.
I do think that generally, like, post-harvest physiology would dictate that, like, the longer something goes post-harvest before you eat it, like, the nutrients in it will start to degrade. So that would be my only thing. Whereas if you're, like, going outside, picking a tomato off, eating it right away, that some of the, like, micronutrients in it might be a little bit more minute from just, like, but that's also, like, if you buy some tomatoes at the grocery store and it's been harvested 2 weeks ago. Whatever.
Yeah. So, moral of this story, grow your own tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
This
100%.
is
Just
like
grow
a reoccurring theme. The nutrients degrading. It'd be cool to research that, because we talked about it last week too, with our storing food.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, one of my professors for one of my courses was, that was like her whole thing was post-harvest physiology. Very interesting.
Yeah, actually, I think I've read a few places actually that like buying freeze-dried vegetables and fruit is healthier for you than buying fresh fruits and vegetables from the grocery store, because it's very likely that in terms of age from the biological age from the time that it takes, like, whatever, from being picked to being flash frozen is a lot less than the time that it takes a fresh piece to get picked to the grocery store, and so it contains a lot more nutrients overall.
That would be interesting.
But yeah, it's kind of fun actually. So another tip: buy frozen. Literally grow it yourself or buy it frozen. Nothing in between. Okay, on to the next one. We've got peppers, and that went too far. Alright, so peppers. I mean, obviously we know there's some health benefits for eating the really spicy peppers. I mean, that capsaicin helps blood flow, it helps your metabolism a little bit. But also you do get quite a bit of benefit from the less spicy peppers, just your standard bell peppers. So they contain something that's called dihydrocapsiate, which I imagine is it's probably a chemical offshoot of capsaicin. I'm not sure if it's different, if it's made differently in the bell peppers because they're not spicy, or if it's just a chemical that, you know, mixes with oxygen or something. I'm not entirely sure how it's produced. I just know it's in the pepper, and that actually helps increase your metabolism as well. And then peppers are also a really significant source of vitamin C. So if you were to cut up just a cup of peppers, you'd get 3 times your daily necessary requirement of vitamin C. So if you're feeling sick, honestly, screw the orange juice. That's just expensive. Literally cut up a bell pepper and eat that, and you'll have more of that immune boosting vitamin C right then and there. But getting into vitamin C being a giant immune boosting thing is a different story, and it's not as crazy as you think it is. Any questions? No? Making fun of me?
Does it matter the color of peppers?
Not that I could tell, and I didn't read anywhere that the color difference, the different colors were a big important thing. I'm sure that the color difference does make a difference in what chemicals are in it, but probably not to a high degree.
I would just guess everything's better than green.
Yeah.
Green is so... I don't like green peppers.
Well, I mean, green peppers are just unripe peppers. I mean...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The green, the yellow, and the red peppers are all the same pepper, just at different times. The green ones are picked earlier, the yellow ones are picked before they're fully mature, and the red ones are supposedly the color they're supposed to be.
Wait,
No,
what?
I think that yellow peppers are a separate thing. At least my understanding is that they are. But
I,
um,
it may be a different breed where it just matures to yellow instead of red, but
yeah, like
I
with
thought
mangoes.
they were all different. Like the green and the orange and the yellow and the red.
I think that the three colored ones are different, but the green ones aren't. But
Or
my assumption also, there's also purple peppers, which I know that anthocyanins are the purple pigments within plants, and those are like really, really good antioxidants for you. So skip all three colors, go to the purples.
oh,
But
we
I
got to
feel like
represent K-State.
yeah, mostly grown in like home gardens and stuff. So you don't see
I
them.
think I've had a few. Like my grandma grew a couple. The
Yeah.
flavor wasn't. I honestly like the flavor of the red ones or yellow or orange ones better than purple. But
I think I'm an orange girl at this point.
I might be classy red.
I don't eat peppers anyway, so I'll take nothing.
Well, you should now that you know that they have a third. Wait, all of your vitamin C needs in a third of a cup. That's right, right?
Yeah. Wait, no. Yeah, like I don't know, like a third of a cup. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. I
Boom.
could do math there for a second. Sheesh.
Yeah,
All right. All right. Moving on. Moving on.
get them peppers.
All right. Asparagus. Now, in addition to making your pea smell awesome,
Oh,
um, well, that's actually, I mean, that's the first point. It's a natural diuretic, so it'll obviously it'll make you go pee a little more, but it also helps relieve feelings of bloatedness, which I didn't realize. So, like if you wake up in the morning and you just you feel a bit of gas, apparently eat asparagus.
noted. Did
Yeah.
you know asparagus is one of those foods you can just like find on the side of the road if you're driving through like the more country part of the state?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so if you're by an area that used to have old homesteads, they would plant asparagus just because it's a really delicious food. And I guess it's good for when other foods aren't as prosperous. Anyway, but I mean, the asparagus just grows in the ditches now. And I was driving around with my boyfriend's family, and during asparagus season, his dad would stop like every 10 feet to go pick asparagus in the ditches. And it's just normal, delicious asparagus.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that.
And you can make some money that way. Sheesh.
I mean, there's not like an overabundance. Like, it was, like, a good day was enough to store it for like 2 meals for like 5 people each meal.
All right. All right, and the second point I have here, it's not totally proven, but it also could potentially help relieve hangover symptoms because it has a really good balance of amino acids and minerals. Now, I don't know how you can ethically test that, so I imagine that one probably comes down more to like certain amino acids and minerals are proven to help with a hangover, and asparagus just contains those. But I mean, the next time you're drunk, you wake up in a drunken haze, go eat some asparagus and see if that helps.
Is there such a thing as like dried asparagus? Because I feel like asparagus, like, it doesn't last super long in your fridge, and I don't regularly stock asparagus, so for this to work, I would either have to like go buy asparagus before I plan on drinking, or I would have to like have a shelf-stable version of asparagus on hand.
I don't know. It's however you want to play it out.
That's fair.
Okay. All right, on to the next one. So the next one we've got is beets, and this will actually play into your talking points, Amelia. So beets contain lots of antioxidants that can help restore cells in the liver. So if you are a heavy drinker or you consume lots of caffeine and other things, eat lots of beets because that'll help mitigate the negative effects that your liver and your kidneys filtering all of that crap out causes damage to, or it'll help prevent damage. My God, I can't speak English. It also contains certain nitrates that may help in the reduction of blood pressure. I think there are studies, it's just they're not very large studies that tested beets and were able to, they came to the conclusion that beets may help. I don't think they were able to conclusively prove it though.
Does that mean that pregnant women shouldn't eat beets? Aren't nitrates something you're supposed to avoid when you're pregnant? Or is that just like, I know it's like processed meats and stuff are like real, I mean, they're bad for you all the time, but like, is that a thing? I don't know.
I don't know. I know that typically wine contains nitrates, and well, you want to avoid wine if you're pregnant. You might have a bit of a glass or two here and there. I know they say some isn't bad for you. And I don't know if that's specifically due to the nitrates or simply, the alcohol.
I think it's, from my understanding, it's the alcohol.
Yeah, imagine if actually it's a whole conspiracy and the only bad thing about drinking alcohol when you're pregnant is the nitrates.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Okay, on to the next one. Lemons. So, lemons are actually quite good for you, both in the actual lemon juice, the pulp, and the peels even. So lemons contain, my God, polyphenols. I couldn't read that word from a distance. And that actually can help ward off fat accumulation in your gut area and also help prevent weight gain. And that's the pulp and the juice. Now the peel contains pectin, which actually can help increase satiety or how full you feel during meals. I think they said as little as 5 grams of pectin. So, I mean, likely if you're able to incorporate, like, I don't know, the some of the peel, like, I don't know, 15 or 20 grams of it, not a whole lot, into a meal, that's gonna make you. It's gonna help you make English. I can't speak English. Can't do it ever. It'll help you feel full much faster anyway. So lemons are technically a great weight loss drug, or at least weight prevention drug, I should say.
That kind of makes sense since pectin is used in like jams for thickener, right?
Oh yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Because I think there was a while back where I went through I'm gonna make my own gummy bear phase, and pectin is one of the things you can use to solidify them that's not animal based, and so that makes a lot of sense. It's like making some jello in your tummy.
Well, there you go. All right, next one.
Jelly, jelly.
All right, and now we're going to talk about a couple different teas. So there's a bunch of different varieties of teas, obviously, and all those different varieties of teas all bring varying different health benefits and a whole shit ton of myths to go along with it. So in general, let's just put it this way: if a tea has a so-called cure or thing it helps with, it just seems a bit outrageous. It probably is. So I mean, we'll start off with the green tea. I mean, Amelia talked about this one earlier. Now, it contains something called EGCG, which I believe is another antioxidant that you might talk about later, I'm not sure. And that will actually help you burn belly fat. So, I should really be drinking a lot of that.
I like that. The sound of it.
Kind of a mouthful.
There's also black tea, which helps improve cardiovascular function, and this one is less proven, but I was reading a bit that it can help your body fight infections. Apparently, there's a chemical in black tea which makes your body release another chemical that is like an immune response, or it's like a response to infections. So basically, it helps prevent. So if you're drinking it and you go out and cut yourself, you're less likely to get an infection on it, for some odd strange reason. I don't know. I just like that one. I thought that was an interesting thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now, green tea and black tea, you can buy both of those in the grocery store, but it's very difficult, I think, probably for most people to grow this stuff on their own. I don't know what the blend that necessarily goes in there, but I imagine that whatever plant is used to make green and black tea likely isn't easy to grow. On the other hand, the next one we have is hibiscus tea, which literally anybody can grow. I mean, I think it grows pretty well anywhere in the United States, barring maybe the upper northwest, or the upper north section of the U.S. So, sorry, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, you're screwed. But yeah, so we literally have a hibiscus plant out in front of our building here. We actually made some of that tea last week on stream.
Delicious.
Yeah.
What was it last week? It was like 3 days ago. 4 days ago?
5 days ago.
5 days ago.
Yeah, black and green tea actually come from the same plant, Camellia sinensis, which is like sinensis means Chinese, so it's primarily grown in China and like India and that kind of Central Asia. I don't know if I've never tried to grow the tea plant, but I would imagine, so green tea and black tea, same with like oolong and white tea, it all comes from the same plant. It's just dependent on the drying process and like what goes into that. So I would imagine probably the most difficult part of growing it is like drying it in a proper way to yield a certain type of tea. That would be my guess.
Huh, I didn't know that. That's actually really quite interesting.
Peppers all over again.
Okay. Now, I will say hibiscus tea, although it tastes pretty good, I don't think there's anything that's necessarily proven yet. So there's a whole lot of claims that come along with it. So apparently it can help you with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. It can aid in the digestive process, etc. There's a lot of claims out there. Now, whether it does much of any of this, I don't think is really well proven yet. So take it with a grain of salt. But also you can just drink it and see what works for you. If nothing else, if you think it does all this and you drink it, you'll probably get some placebo effect out of it anyway. So there's literally no harm in it. Alrighty. Next one, flaxseed. I hope I didn't go into your stuff, Mary.
Nope.
Okay, cool. So these were just a few other things. You can incorporate flaxseed into some cooking. It's a lot easier to incorporate into baking. So flaxseed has been shown to be helpful in lowering blood pressure. There aren't a lot of studies on it, just that there was a small study conducted that over the course of 60 days, they gave some people flaxseed and other people they didn't. They were both on the same, the same weight loss regimen, and people after 60 days with flaxseed had lower blood pressure overall. So there needs to be more substantial studying done, but at least there is something that actually, would be conclusively proving it. Although it just hasn't been peer-reviewed too much.
Also, if there's any vegans listening in, this is a really great one for B12. Like, just throw it in everything. It's great.
Wait, what?
For B12, it's the B vitamin that you need to avoid degenerative brain disease that's hard to get in other foods in vegan diets.
Ah, okay, cool.
This is a really good source of it.
I did not read that. I'm a little disappointed in that now. Or I would have included it. Sheesh.
Probably it's like written for a different audience.
Yeah, B12. If you're eating like a diet with meat, B12 is like taken care of. You're good.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right. Next, we've got mustard seed. So mustard seed, and I could not find a picture of mustard seed that was any good. So there's just a picture of mustard on the screen. Don't get the two confused, please. But yeah, mustard seeds are actually shown to be helpful in increasing metabolism. And strangely enough, apparently it's only really good for a short-term boost. So if you add in something like what is it? I think they said 20 grams of mustard seed, prepared mustard seed is what they said, to any meal, you'll get a metabolism boost for roughly the next 2 to 3 hours.
Oh.
So yeah, if you're doing like a really intense workout, it's probably beneficial for that. But if you're just trying to lose extra weight, maybe not the best thing for you.
I feel like it could also help because one thing I came across reading, I had to Google like what exactly metabolism was because it kept going like, oh, this food raises your metabolism, and I'm like, well, I don't really know what that means. But apparently one common problem is as people start losing weight, their metabolism decreases, which is good just because your body takes less energy when it's resting now because it weighs less. And so something like this that can kind of boost it a little bit so that like it's more what you're used to might help.
Yeah. Oh my god, English. So talking about lowering metabolism through weight loss over a period of time, that's actually one of the reasons why they say why some people claim cheat days are so useful in losing weight. Because as your body does lose weight, obviously it needs a lower metabolism in order to maintain that weight. So if you eat like you used to, your body never technically adjusts to it. It continues to think, oh hey, I've just been running low for these last few days, but I can keep the same metabolism going, so you'll technically burn calories more. Now, from what I've read, that is not totally true, but it's not untrue. Like, the benefits aren't nearly as significant as you think. Cheat days are more of a mental good thing for you. But, just a fun little fact, unfortunately, I've been reading up on. Alright. And we're going to get into some oils here. We've got coconut oil. So, coconut oil can really actually be used in any place you want to use butter. And it's technically a lot healthier alternative. So, it is to some degree, it's lower in calories. But the main thing is that it converts to energy much easier than other types of fats. And so if you're needing quick energy in the morning, instead of slathering your toast in butter, throw some coconut oil on there, and you'll have energy a lot quicker than you would with just butter.
I don't know how I feel about putting just like coconut oil on my toast.
Yeah, I know.
It's a really interesting
I
flavor.
feel like it's comparable to unsalted butter though, which I definitely do nonchalantly.
Yeah,
I
I guess
try that for sure. Why not, right?
I feel like that would be very interesting to try out. I do, and it's also, I was just gonna say, it's great in cookies. You know, I love coconut oil on cookies.
Yeah. Yeah, coconut oil may, like I said, you may not want to, you're right, you probably don't want to put it on toast. But anywhere that you can replace it in baking, it's actually a really good option for you.
I mean, I don't think it's like a bad idea to replace it on toast. I've just never had it. It just feels like it would be very coconutty, but I'll have to try it sometime. I'm totally open to that.
There you go.
I can use more energy in the morning. I don't really do caffeine, so
Yeah, maybe dab a little honey on there, get that allergenic benefit. All right, I think this is my last one. We've got peanut oil.
I thought that was like
Sorry?
a mango. The picture looks like a mango.
I thought
Yeah.
it was a coffee bean.
Look, I had to do this quick.
That's fair.
No, I'm just saying.
No, you're good. You're good. All right, so peanut oil is full of what is I don't know how to pronounce this technically. I assume it's oleic acid, which actually helps reduce appetite and promote weight loss. And to some degree, apparently a small study was done. It has been shown to help with memory loss. So, I mean, if you are bad at remembering things, maybe you should start consuming more peanuts and peanut oil. So, I don't know.
I like how in that sentence there's weight loss and memory loss. And so my brain's like, oh, losing things is good. It helps us lose things from the weight loss. And then it's like memory loss. And my brain's like, okay, it helps us lose things. And it's like, oh, wait, we don't want to lose that one.
No.
No, it's cool. You do want to lose your mind. It means you have to worry about a thing again. It's great.
Man, there's a movie about this. Have either of you seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
I
No.
hate that movie.
I've always wanted to watch that movie.
I kind of like it.
Well, it's not that it's not a good movie. It's just it's so weirdly done.
Oh, it's weird as heck. Yeah, the premise.
Wait.
Do you know the premise, Mary?
Romanticizing mental illness.
You're not wrong on that idea.
Maybe it is. Like deep down, on the surface, what I took away from my first viewing of it, it's kind of like Black Mirror in that they kind of picked like a future technology and did a story around it. And theirs was you could go and get certain parts of your memory erased. And so this couple like erases their past relationship because they had a bad breakup, and then it's kind of about that.
Interesting. I'll have to watch that.
I would
That's not what I thought it was about, but I didn't really know. So.
I can't remember if that movie has copious amounts of drug use or not.
Not that I remember.
Would
Maybe-
you say I was just gonna say, aren't most nuts good for memory loss because they have like omega-3s and stuff, and like fatty acids, just in general?
I would imagine, yeah. Other nuts are also good for memory loss, but I just went for peanuts because they're the cheapest. They're the easiest to get your hands on.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, is that a universal thing? I exclusively only eat cashews. Most expensive nut I can. No, pine nuts. I only eat.
Oh, man.
I live off of pine nuts.
Okay. Do I have anything else? No. Okay, that's the last of it. That's the last of it for me. Okay, cool. Who would like to go next?
I think it would work best if Mary went next, and then she talks about the cool things. Because I feel like antioxidants is kind of like a theme throughout, and then I'll finish up, unless you need more time or something.
No, I think that sounds fine. Mine's probably going to be really boring compared to David's, though, because I just wrote everything down in the notebook, and I didn't go through the effort of making, like, a really beautiful, nice PowerPoint with pictures and words to read. So, it might be boring. I'll try to, like, make things interesting, spice it up.
Maybe you can like act out like cardiovascular disease.
Mary, it'll be fine. Look, I took the PowerPoint thing because I needed to actually have something substantial other than words, because we all know I can't speak English well. So I needed a visual aspect to make up for all of the things I say.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so my segment is more so about spices and herbs and like things that you just like incorporate into your meals. And then I also my first segment is about aromatics, which are more so like things that you put as a base in your recipe meal, and then you kind of add the flavor on top of that. So like onions, ginger, garlic, and cayenne are the ones that I wrote about. I wanted to do a quick shout out of if you're interested in like really reading more about medicinal herbs, I have the Nat Geo Guide to Medicinal Herbs, and I really like this. I feel like it's, I don't know, in my brain I'm like, Nat Geo is a reputable resource, much more so than lots of other things. So, and it has like, it's a, kind of talks about different like harvests around the world and kind of maybe some more like cultural elements to it. A little bit. There's like aloe harvest, if you can see that. So different really cool things, and then it just has like a lot of the most like effective things, and it goes more into like a variety of things. And then I also have, I got this recently. This is herbal remedies. So this is kind of taking a lot of mostly like herbs that you grow in the garden, and that has a bunch of different recipes and things about that. So this is more about like addressing a certain issue. This is more like this is the herb, and this is more like I'm dealing with. I opened it to the diarrhea page. I'm dealing with diarrhea. What do I do to solve that? So these are both really good books. I would recommend if you're like wanting to get into herbs. I'm not an expert, but I like both these books. So yeah, with that, I tried to get like stuff from the kitchen to show, but I didn't do that with the aromatic. So I'm sure you can all imagine ginger in my hand, which I'm kind of surprised. I thought that you were going to talk about ginger, actually. I'm kind of glad that you didn't, David, because, yeah, then I would have had to not talk about it.
Oh no, you still
Ginger,
could have talked about it.
well, I could have, yeah, but whatever. I'm going to turn the fan on also. I'm getting toasty in here. Um, So ginger is an aromatic. It's in the base of a lot of different recipes, and you can throw it in anything. I love ginger; it's so good, and it has like a really wide array of useful things. One of them being that it's antiseptic. So when you, it's known for being really good with like nausea, upset stomach, different things like that. So when you eat ginger, it kind of helps to like clean out your system a little bit and can fight those infectious and problematic bacteria that you might have. Um, and yeah, so the compounds in it break down the receptors of the GI tract so they can actually accelerate digestion. So if you have an upset stomach, it's gonna like we're gonna get rid of this digestive issues. And as with like there's kind of a running theme in like I feel like so many different spices and herbs and aromatics of reduces inflammation and improves circulation. So I feel like I'll say that a lot, but I feel like the general thing is to just be like incorporating spices and herbs into your diet with a lot of different things. Just like putting them whenever you make food, just throwing in a couple different things is going to generally aid in getting better circulation, better cardiovascular health, things like that. Just like general health, I guess. Um, yeah, and then ginger is also, since it has like these really good calming properties and antiseptic properties, it's also good for respiratory issues and like coughs and colds, because it's going to warm up your system and it's also going to like fight the bacteria in it, which is pretty cool. Do you guys have anything to say, or I'll just keep on going?
I don't have anything.
Okay,
No.
I just feel like
Um,
just
sorry, Amelia, are you wearing headphones?
No, I am not.
Okay. Man, I don't know. I'm getting. I think I'm getting like double voices.
yeah, I know. I just recently started hearing myself, but maybe it's because I wasn't talking before.
Let me just double check real quick. Okay. Okay, give me just 1 second, sorry.
Should I keep talking or should I not keep talking?
I'm sorry, everyone. Ooh, that is totally my fault. I'm sorry. Muting, there we go. Sheesh. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and keep talking. I'm gonna bring a pair of headphones down to you.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So then the next two kind of go hand in hand, because garlic and onion are in the same family, the alliums. And alliums are wonderful. Generally, one thing that I want to get across is, um, flavor usually equals health benefit or medicinal property, which that kind of goes into like what Amelia is probably going to talk about with antioxidant. Um, but like a lot of plant defense mechanisms, like garlic, bugs do not mess with garlic because it's so strong because it has done such an effective job of defending itself. And it has, with those, allium, they have the compound allicin, I think it's pronounced, or it might be a little bit different than that, but that's kind of like capsaicin, allicin, in alliums. So they also both have, um, really good and are really effective. Especially garlic is mostly has the same kind of thing as ginger of being really antibacterial or antiseptic. So it can kill a variety of organisms. One thing that it's really good at fighting off is like diarrhea or upset stomach issues. So it can kill salmonella, E. coli, different things. So if you have food poisoning, one really good thing is to eat garlic, and particularly raw garlic is best. Um, so, like in a salad dressing or something like that, getting that in there, into your system would be really good. And also, it can help lower cholesterol, blood pressure, and reduces the risk of blood clots, which that's particularly also the same in onions, of kind of helping balance out the system. Um, One thing that, and they also, can help reduce the risk for colorectal cancer. And in a study, it showed that it was 79% lower for those who regularly consume alliums. The risk of getting colorectal cancer, which is colon cancer, um, and rectum cancer, and like, yeah, generally like bowel cancer. Um, And onions have really good vitamin C, which, as we were kind of talking about earlier, is really awesome. You can just have onion in something else, and that'll also give you really high rates of vitamin C. And one thing that I didn't know was that these high rates of vitamin C in onion means that it's really good at restoring collagen and different things. So hair, skin, nails, all of that. You don't need to eat gelatin. Just just eat onion, I guess. Um, that's really interesting because I didn't know that. And in the other, I didn't have the aromatics, but just mentioned garlic. You know what it looks like. Onion. You know what it looks like. And then I have dried cayenne here. Cayenne is another kind of aromatic, thing. Chilies in general that can be added into your diet are just so good. So good. Cayenne is like one of the hottest, kind of like, I guess I consider cayenne to be one of like the hottest that's not like a ghost pepper. Like it's not like purposefully there just to add heat, but it has a lot of flavor and natural benefit. I should say medicinal benefits. Natural benefits, that doesn't mean anything. So yeah, it has a really high concentration of capsaicin. Um, So one thing that I didn't really know about was cayenne can be externally used, and I would equivocate, equate it to equate it to like using a muscle rub. It seems like it's really good for reducing muscle pain and muscle cramp, discomfort, fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, things like that. So you could take a cayenne pepper, create a salve with it, um, and use that to make like a rub. And internally, it's also going to reduce the cholesterol, improve the circulation, all of that stuff. It also helps regulate the blood sugar by it's really good at breaking down carbs, especially at an accelerated rate. So I think that's one thing, probably one reason that they say like people who have cuisines like Thais, for instance, that are like quite spicy and have quite a bit of chilies in them, tend to be like burning off calories and burning off carbs. At an accelerated rate. So that makes sense to me. So they tend to be like thinner. Um, so that's something. I didn't really know that it just like literally the compound breaks down carbs faster. Um, so yeah, again with the like cholesterol, heart health, things like that, it's going to be really good to incorporate into your diet. It also relieves cluster headaches, which I didn't have time to look up. I don't know what the difference between like a cluster headache is and a normal headache, but if you got those headaches, I guess try cayenne. Um,
I,
yeah, so those are kind of like, huh?
oh, I was gonna say cluster headaches. I've never experienced one myself, but I've been told that it's basically like a really bad headache in just tons of spots in your head. So imagine getting a really bad like tension headache in one spot, but also in another, and another, and another, and another, and it's just an overwhelming amount of pain all at once.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
no, thank you. That sounds horrible.
no, it's
Um,
horrible thing. Yeah, so anything that helps fix that is amazing.
yeah, get cayenne. Um, yeah, so those are the aromatics. There's lots of different aromatics. But I want to include those because those are more like you buy garlic cloves and you use those instead of like a dried or fresh either way. Well, it's just generally like fresh, more fleshy things that you're going to be using for aromatics as opposed to like spices, which are just the dried herb, whatever. So, yeah, those are the four. And then there's also, I really wish I had made a PowerPoint, but I'm not going to sit here and regret it. I'm just going to live my life. So, like, we're going for it. Um, So one thing about is the difference between like spices and herbs. And we kind of associate them really closely together. They're both culinarily related. Um, and like speaking exclusively from a culinary perspective, like what distinguishes a spice from an herb? What do you guys think it is? Or I'm gonna just keep talking.
I
Oh,
guess whenever I think of an herb, I think of like a leaf. Like it's always like the leaf of a rosemary plant or basil leaf or thyme leaf. And then like spices are like seeds sometimes and things like that. That's my
Yeah.
guess.
yeah. See, I was gonna say that spices are like the ground up versions of most of those because I don't know. I feel like you don't find many spices that are like whole something. But I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like, I guess you've got whole cloves, but I guess couldn't that also be considered an herb? I don't know. That's what I always thought of. I always thought those herbs were like full leaf things, and then spices were the powder variants.
Yeah. That I think that like we're both pretty much on the right track with that. Usually, one kind of easy way to distinguish it is that like herbs are usually used in like much higher volume than spices, um, or like larger, just like larger amounts. So herbs are generally mostly fresh, but you can do dried herbs also. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's going to be much larger, much more like from the leaf or from the stem. And then smaller amounts are generally with the spices where you're putting like a teaspoon of this one thing in, and it's probably powdered or it's probably like a whole seed. So whereas like paprika, it is, you would call that a spice. It doesn't exclusively mean it has to come from the seed or the nut because paprika is like the entire pepper, that's just ground up really finely. Same with like chili powder. Chili powder isn't exclusively the seed if you think about it, but it's mostly going to be powdered or like whole seeds. Whereas, yeah, when we think of herbs, it's like ground up or whole leaves. So, yeah, it's pretty much that. Um, but yeah, and then it's also going to be different. Like that's just culinarily speaking, and then it's also like herbs for all the other like just generally like medicinal herbs or whatever. Um, but yeah, I think that it's interesting to think about because we're kind of like, it's a spice, it's an herb, yeah. So I didn't do like every single spice in the spice cabinet. I kind of just wanted to do like a general, like really commonly used ones, to kind of talk about like what they can bring to your health and things like that. And so maybe it'll encourage people to like use spices more. And if you're going to use spices, you'll probably use these spices because these spices are in like most things. Um, but that's where I would recommend, kind of just like Googling around for yourself if you're like really into marjoram. I think marjoram's actually really close to oregano, so maybe that's not that different. But I don't know, the specific things are good to look into. So I have a couple different ones here, and maybe these are mostly just things that I use, but I think people like them. Um, except for this is kind of the exception, which is sage. So sage is salvia, in the same family as really a lot of different herbs, mint, rosemary, um, thyme, oregano, like all of these things are in the same Lamiaceae is the family. And sage is really good because it's another one that is really good for digestion as well as cramping. So like one thing that it was saying is like um to put sage to like use sage with beans. So like if you get kind of bloated from beans to just like counteract that in the meal with sage. And it has a lot of antibacterial properties. So that's kind of another thing where it's going to clean out any um really like more dangerous bacteria that's in your system, and it's also good with memory. So I wrote it down that it inhibits. No! Shoot, I really need new glasses, guys.
Did
It
that just break off?
Yeah, and this side has already broken off. I had to do what's that called? Like JB Weld this side, and now this side just did it too. These are only like a year and a half old.
only.
Okay, okay. These I've had for probably since early high school. They've been stepped on by both of the two people I've ever dated, and they're super bit. So I feel like a year and a half, like it should be a little
Yeah.
longer.
That's like a Sweeney has also had his glasses since probably like early high school, and he is a 22-year-old person now. So Yeah. I've been saying I need new ones because this side is already messed up and now I really gotta get new ones. I'll just weld it and it'll be fine until I get a real job.
Do
It's
you,
fine.
do you have the good JB Weld or do you have the JB Quick?
I have the epoxy thing. I have
Okay.
that.
Yeah, you have like the two little tubes.
Yeah. I mean, this has been welded like this for like 6 months probably.
Okay,
And I
sounds
mean,
good.
it's slowly starting to like it when I initially did it, it wouldn't bend, and now I'm kind of bending more and more. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. The
Okay, yeah.
weld
I
sucks.
was gonna say my glasses are JB welded too.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have any weld in mine, but I have to put like paper in the corner so they stay on my face.
Yeah, I should probably. I feel like Sweeney's glasses are closer to like your shape. Maybe those are just better at holding up for some reason. I don't know
I
why.
mean, yours look kind of thin,
Yeah, they
like
definitely are.
the frame part.
Yeah, I'll have to just like. These were my first glasses, so I'll have to like think more thoroughly about like what makes a good sturdy pair of glasses.
Those are
Uh,
really sturdy though.
Stop it. That's that's nice of you to say because I think when I got them, I was like, "Wow, I'm gonna look so cute in my glasses," and now when I put them on, I'm like, "I'm such a dork." Oh my god. It's like glasses are beautiful. I love people who wear glasses, but for my personal self, I'm like, "Oh man, whatever. It doesn't matter." Anyways, so sage inhibits. Get ready for this. Acetylcholinesterase, which is an enzyme that's targeted by Alzheimer's drugs. So, I don't fully understand the science behind that, but yeah, sage is good for memory loss. And it's also good for a sore throat. So, how about that? Which I'm assuming is kind of the same thing as the antiseptic qualities of it can just kind of like burn off whatever's going on in there. The next one brings us to thyme, which is also great for cough, cold, flu, asthma. It also has the same kind of antibacterial qualities. One thing is that thyme is really good if you have like acne prone skin. You can put it on there and it'll kind of help be an astringent and help clean out and fight that bacterial stuff going on. So yeah, and it also has a relaxing effect on both and like on the smooth muscles of the stomach and intestine. So again, going back to stomach issues, helping to kind of clean it out and relieve any issues there. Um, yeah, and so it has a lot of volatile oils in it. So that's time. Just wasting away. Um, the next thing is paprika. I use paprika like all the time. Time. One thing about paprika is it's actually, for those who don't know, it's from the same, I mean, it's from a hot pepper, just a sweeter variety. Also a capsicum annuum, which is just pepper. So it's just from like a generally sweeter variety, and then it's the entire pepper ground up real fine, including the seeds. So there's lots of different kinds of paprikas, as we know. Some are spicier, some are sweeter, some are smokier, whatever, whatever. So it's going to have a lot of the same benefits as cayenne of helping with the cholesterol, heart disease, regulating blood sugar, things like that. Um, it has really high levels of vitamin E and the beta carotene, which will be converted to vitamin A. So good for eye health. Um, and crossing into amylase territory, lutein and zeaxanthin, which is both antioxidants that prevent danger to eyes. So paprika is really good for your eyes. Um, the next thing is my homeboy, my main bae. Where did you go? Oh, it's right here. It's holding outside. Cumin, which we all love cumin. This cumin makes me feel special because a Sweeney's family ground it for me, some cumin seeds, probably in a mortar and pestle, and it makes me feel special.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like real fresh, nice cumin. Um, so this is going to increase the activity of digestive enzymes, and it's also really, really rich in iron, which kind of makes sense. I don't know what it is. Apparently, Indian food has like really, really high rates of iron. So if you're anemic, it's good to eat Indian food, which I think is from the spices, which would make sense, because cumin is also really, really high in iron. And it says 1 teaspoon of it accounts for 17.5% of your recommended daily intake. So maybe that's why I never have anemia, because I eat a lot of cumin.
That is a good point to make. Certainly
Who
beats
knows?
out my spinach.
Yeah, it's like kind of crazy. Just like if you add this to your meal every single day. This is also the same as like I think molasses, which we were talking about last week. Yeah, it's also maybe 18%, and that's probably like a tablespoon or two. So yeah, spices are good. Spices are good. Um, It also may promote weight loss and fat reduction if you're into that sort of thing. And it's also antimicrobial in the same vein as a lot of other things. So another fun one is cardamom. Love me some cardamom. Got that yummy, yummy. Ooh, just smelling it. I love it. um, yeah. So it has an antioxidant that will reduce blood pressure, and it's also a diuretic. So if you're bloated or need, I guess, I don't know if like detoxing, does that even mean anything? But I guess if you need to pee a lot, eat some cardamom. Eat some cardamom. It fights inflammation, and I was actually reading about a study where doing like this, turmeric, and one other thing helped to relieve ulcers in rats. So that's like pretty impressive if it can get rid of and heal ulcers. And one fun thing, which I had watched a video of this like a long time ago and I kind of forgot about, it helps with like bad breath, and like mouth bacteria. So I had actually watched this video and it was talking about like zero waste or like sustainable alternatives to some things, and it was saying that they just get cardamom pods and they use that as a breath mint. So I kind of want to try that. That sounds like a lot of fun, and I like cardamom. I want to smell like cardamom. So yeah, I'll have to try that out and see what happens. So the next one is the show-stopping lady of the hour, turmeric. Turmeric is like really renowned for its health benefits. It does a lot of different things. Um, I feel like I see turmeric all the time in like when you Google like natural remedies to something, and it's like gotta put some turmeric on it. So yeah, it's been used for like thousands of years for different things. It has curcumin in it, which is like the really yellow compounds, which as we know, plant pigments of different colors are what you want. They're the good stuff. So this is kind of crazy, but it stops. So people who have Alzheimer's apparently have beta amyloid plaque that starts to grow on their brain, and that's a part of what causes the memory loss. So the curcumin in this can stop the accumulation of that plaque. I think it is once somebody already has Alzheimer's, but it couldn't hurt to turmeric and try to fight memory loss for people of like any age. One of the really big things is that it reduces inflammation, and it's going to help relieve a lot of inflammation within your system, GI wise, and helps a lot if you have any like bowel related diseases like Crohn's or inflammatory bowel disease, things like that. It can also be used externally topically for psoriasis and helping external inflammation and redness with things like that. So yeah, it just kind of keeps you running okay. And I'm sure that that was kind of what I saw, but I think that there's probably a lot of less tested, less official things. Turmeric does everything. It's also like reading through these. So I was gonna say pretty much the medicinal herbs book was the primary resource for my research. But I was also reading on Healthline, and there's just so many things where it's like
Healthline is rough.
yeah, it was just like cancer. It's gonna fight cancer. It's gonna beat all of the cancer. Like, okay, I guess so does like anything within, I don't know, sweet and low, apparently sweet and low, I don't know. Yeah. So turmeric, just have turmeric and you'll never have cancer. Another thing, I don't actually have it. The one that I couldn't, we might have it somewhere downstairs. But I wanted to talk about fennel. I'm not a big fennel person, but I feel like it also has like a really wide array of health benefits for it, and it's such a like concentrated, strong flavor that you know it's got to be good for something. And that's when it's also relieves bloating, gas, upset stomachs. Kind of has the same thing as like diuretic, things like that. So if you're feeling like really bloated and just crappy, just like pop some fennel up in there. Not like just like yum fennel. I love it. So good. And then last but not least, I have oregano. And of course oregano is great. It's classic Mediterranean. Amelia and I met a woman and she was saying that oregano, they think that that's why like the Mediterranean diet is the healthiest of all diets, which like she probably just read something that said that, and there's so much information out there. But yeah, it is really good. It also is like super high in antioxidants. It can fight the E. coli, different bacterials. It's very antibacterial. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have. I feel like it was a lot of like digestive things, which is kind of interesting. That like, I don't know, I guess a lot of spices have antibacterial properties, which kind of results in that. But I don't know. That's what I came up with. So, yeah.
That was fantastic, actually. Thank you, Mary. That was great. And honestly, I really appreciate the fact that pretty well everything that you presented is easy to get. You'll find it at a local grocery store. It's common enough that you're not going to have somebody going, I don't want to deal getting that. It's good.
Yeah, there's like, I just feel like these are just like the really easy, common ones. And they also all pretty much go in like a lot of different things. And can like add a little something to your dish without just being like, this is an oregano themed dish now. So, wasn't even on the label. Here's some oregano on your oregano. So, yeah, I feel like these are really easy to incorporate. It's just really tasty and yummy. Like, I love all these things. Yum, 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 yum. That's what I have to say.
Alright, cool beans. Alright, Amelia, you ready?
I'm ready. Just a disclaimer, my original plan was to draw on the whiteboard, but with the headphones and my phone dying, that won't exactly be possible, but I don't think it'll really make anything impossible. You just don't get weird, um, amoeba antibiotic or antioxidant
Okay.
monsters.
Um, Amelia,
Yes.
I think as long as neither I nor Mary is really talking much during your presentation, you can likely not have the headphones in.
It's okay. It's like multiple factors that have made this spontaneously less of a possibility. So I think I can make it work.
Okay. Okay then.
But we'll see how it goes. So one of the things that both David and Mary kind of brought up throughout their food journeys was a lot of these foods are high in something called antioxidants. You've probably heard that term before, maybe on like a blueberry package or something. And I'm just going to kind of talk about kind of exactly what that is and what that does in your body. So an antioxidant, its basic definition is just anything that prevents oxidation. And if that sounds like a broad term, it is. It doesn't always refer to food. There's actually a lot of chemicals used in manufacturing. Like if you're making rubber, you need antioxidants because you don't want it oxidizing apparently. That's not what we're putting in our bodies, but
Yeah.
the general purpose is to prevent oxidation. And why that's important in our bodies is something called oxidative stress. So when you're going about your business, being a human being, your body will create these things called radicals. Whether it's through respiration, which is normal, exercise, like just normal processes that your body goes through. You can't avoid it. You will have radicals produced in your body. Or you can also be exposed to things that increase your risk for that. Radiation, including the sun, will increase radicals in your body. Ozone, which is good when it's all the way up high in the atmosphere, but it's also pollutant when it's lower down. So if you're breathing that in, you're getting radicals, certain chemical compounds, things like that. And what these radicals are chemical compounds that are one electron short. And if you remember from chemistry class, the number of electrons that a molecule has kind of determines how stable it is. And so if it's one short from its magical number, it's really aggressive. It really wants that last one. And so what happens in your body is that free radical is going through and it's just picking fights with anyone it thinks it can get an electron from. I mean, it's targeting the lipids in your cell membranes. It's targeting the nucleic acid of your DNA and proteins. Yeah, so pretty much like everything that's important for your body to function, these things like destroy. And not only do they go and kind of attack it and steal that electron from them, thus damaging them, then whatever it attacked is one electron short, and so it turns around and it punches the next guy down the line. And so it's kind of a really bad chain reaction that kind of sweeps through your body. Luckily, your body also has a lot of defense mechanisms against this, obviously, because it'd be really destructive if they didn't. And some of those come in like different forms. Some of it's just like preventing it at the source, and other times it's like hunting down those radicals. And a lot of those antioxidants that hunt them down are also the ones that we eat. And how they work is they're just like, okay, cool, you can have my electron, and then they're mellow about it. And so they kind of stop the whole process in its tracks. So common antioxidants that you might eat, there's like a million of them, but the ones that stick out the most are vitamin A, E, and C, just because they're the easiest to remember. If you remember back to some of the things that Mary and David were saying, a lot of the foods that they were saying are really high in those. The onions, the spinach, pretty much like fruits and vegetables will generally have antioxidants in them. Plants need to protect themselves from free radicals too, they're out in the sun all day. In terms of research, what we know about how effective it is, there's really awesome research that says the more antioxidants you eat, the more it ties to everything, like preventing a lot of those like long-term diseases and also just like longer lifespan. However, it's really hard to conclusively say that that's solely because of antioxidants. It could just be because you're eating healthier food in general, and so you're getting everything in there. So, like, take it with a grain of salt. Like, that's kind of where that's at. But there is very specific evidence also that certain ones will help. Like Mary said, the lutein with your eyes, that is probably one of the most proven ones there is. They gave people a pill for it. They had degrading eyes, and it helped the people. The eyesight degraded less in the people who took it than the ones who didn't. The other forms, so far what the tests have primarily focused on is giving people supplements of like one kind of it, like vitamin E. Those have been much less conclusive. They've shown that it doesn't have as direct as a result. However, there are really direct like laboratory results where they take that radical, they take a cell, and like when you do introduce these antioxidants that we eat in our diet, it does prevent damage. So that's kind of where the research is at. It's kind of hard to make conclusive things, but it's pretty cool. So where you can find antioxidants, I think one of the biggest, most successful ones is berries. They're really good for it. No, wild blueberries do not have substantially more antioxidants than normal blueberries. That is a marketing myth, but blueberries are good for that. That's pretty true. But so are like blackberries, nuts, and then again, like vegetables, and pretty much like all fruits and vegetables have this in them. And yeah, if you're eating food with antioxidants in them, you're probably eating something healthy for yourself.
Beautiful. Amazing. I feel like, yeah, whenever you started saying, like, go and punching them around, I'm just like, I need to, like, go eat some. My body's being destroyed.
Your body produces a lot of antioxidants on its own, so you should be pretty good. It's more like if you put yourself in a really, like, oxidative, stressful situation, like smoking, or radiation, things like that, is where you really get into trouble. Like everyday life, you might have a little bit of it, and I mean, you're always going to have a little bit of it. It's kind of what makes us age. It happens. It's part of being human. But your body can keep up with that. And so just eating these vitamins helps your body maintain those mechanisms. So the real harm comes if you're not eating like hardly any, or if you put yourself in a really oxidative, stressful situation and you don't have the antioxidants to counter it. But you're not in a harmful situation not eating pounds of blueberries every day.
I'm converting to just like an exclusively blueberry diet.
Wasn't there someone who did that and like turned blue, or is that the plot to Willy Wonka?
I think you're thinking of Willy Wonka.
Okay. I think there was someone who ate too many carrots though and turned orange. Something like this.
I feel like I've heard that before. I don't know if it's true.
I don't know about the carrots. I know if you ingest a lot of silver, you'll turn blue. So.
Silver. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. I think that's a thing. Because weren't there people who lived in a specific area who started turning blue? Because I think I remember.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
about
if
an island or such.
but there's like a vague remembrance in my brain of like there were people who did have blue skin because of something.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
there was like a family that lived in the mountains or something. I want to say, or it was some country family. It definitely wasn't the city, but I think their water supply was tainted with like silver oxide or something, and it literally turned their skin blue.
Uh, that's not healthy. That's not medicinal.
No, no,
I
it's
want
not.
to
It's bad
like
for you.
bad joke, but
All right. All right. So, are you done presenting?
I am. That's
Okay.
all I've got.
All right. Cool. I will move us back over to discussion view then.
Alrighty.
All right. Cool.
this has been such an exciting episode. Like, even my glasses broke.
This makes me want to like convert to a whole foods plant-based diet.
I Yeah, it does. It makes me feel like we have the garden, but I still feel like I've been eating a lot more like legumes and stuff. Like, just need to like walk outside and like grab some kale and like,
Tear it open.
yeah.
Oh man.
I don't think I'm ready to give up meat yet. I'm sorry. I know.
I'm just kidding.
No, but I will say the majority of my diet is basically plant-based and bean-based, so it's good. I just don't want to give up that occasional chicken fried steak.
Of all meats, you choose chicken fried steak.
So specific.
That's
Much.
I mean,
what I ate in middle school.
wait, what? It's old school?
No, it's what I had in middle school. Like it was a staple food lunch item.
Oh, that doesn't sound good because like real chicken fried steak takes time, and there's no way your school
no.
cafeteria.
It was gross.
I imagine it
like-
was just like some compressed chicken patty with gravy
No.
poured on top of it.
It was like a really inexpensive hamburger patty. Like the least expensive you can get. And it had
Oof.
like breading on it. And they probably baked it. And then they served potatoes and gravy that day.
The fabled grade F circus meat, not for human consumption.
Oh god, probably.
Give it to the growing minds and bodies.
Oh no.
All right, I think we're good talking about meat here. Alrighty. So yeah. So I mean, if anybody in chat has any like superfoods that they want to tell us about real quick, go ahead and throw it in chat and we can discuss it real quick. But I think at this point we'll start the wrap up. So I guess we'll start with upcoming announcements.
Oh, I just wanted to say before I'm like gonna announce it too, but like my brother gets so aggressively angry when people bring up superfoods. He's like, "That's just a marketing ploy. It's not even."
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Calm down. But yeah, as far as announcements go, this week you're gonna want to tune in. Not sustainable kitchen. Real Food Live. We're gonna do our second week of food, and it's gonna be like jerk chicken made out of chickpeas, which like we'll see how that goes. It's an experiment. With a pepper pot, which is kind of like a stew sort of thing with a bunch of different spices and veggies in it. So it's gonna be super good. I'm so excited. It is gonna be a bit of a shorter stream. I'm probably gonna prep a lot of this stuff, so It probably is only gonna last like an hour long, but yeah, it should be really good. I'm really excited. I'm really curious how this jerk chicken is gonna try out. We'll see.
What you're saying, Barry, is if people want an opportunity to learn about a recipe that incorporates a lot of these amazing foods we just talked about, they can tune in Thursday for free.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Come learn about how to use the whole food, plant-based stuff, and make your meals delicious and cook vegan Jamaican food. Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be exciting. I have to go to the store and I have to get pure gluten. So.
Is that like gluten's cousin?
Is gluten gluten's cousin?
Oh wait, what you said? I thought you said gluten. I heard gluten.
Where do you get pure gluten? That's kind of a weird.
Apparently it's just you can get it at like Hy-Vee or Dillon's, but hopefully it is there. Maybe I should have like ordered it online ahead of time. But yeah, it's just to like help with the binding because it's like supposed to be like little wings. So it should be interesting.
Oh man, this will be interesting. You weren't kidding.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. We'll see how it goes.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm actually pretty excited for that. That sounds really good. But other than that, I don't see anybody posting anything in chat. So just want to say I appreciate everyone who's been watching today, who tuned in. Thank you very much. As Mary said, we have Real Food Live coming up this Thursday at 6 p.m. And then you can catch us live every week, Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Our Sustainable Kitchen is at 6 p.m. on Tuesdays, and Real Food Live on Thursdays at 6 p.m. So yeah, please tune into those. All right. I guess with that, yeah, I guess we'll sign off then.
Bye everybody. Thanks for coming.
Have a good one, everyone. See ya.